Okay, he can stop clapping.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Why did you just try to hold my hand?
Sorry.
I saw that.
He's like, so I'm going to say something? We just start holding
Cut it.
hands.
Clip it. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the St. Louis podcast for March 21st, 2023. I'm one of your glorious hosts, Garrett Atkins, the CEO of an award-winning and fastest-growing marketing agency, founder of the studio we're sitting in right now, and chairman of a holding company that owns multiple home service companies. I'm sitting here with my co-host and business partner across a few of those companies, and the man with the beard so powerful that it stopped a moving train in Palestine, Ohio, and caused an oil spill, Eric Brown. How are you doing?
I just read that.
I know, I threw it in last second.
First of all, let me just say that if I was there and my beard stopped it, there wouldn't have been a crash. I have enough hair for the train to, collect itself and not actually crash. It would have been a slow stop.
I was thinking your beard would have absorbed the
That's what
oil
I'm trying
spill.
to. Oh, see, we could have went that way too. So I do appreciate it. I'm doing great though. I'm doing great. Besides, Palestine's not doing too well, but
No, it's not.
my beard's doing better.
No, it is not. And it's not being talked about enough. All right. Today we have Aaron Park, the creator of Arch Apparel on the St. Louis podcast. And we're going to get in the weeds with him and his business. But before we do, this is the St. Louis podcast where each and every Friday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, we drop an episode on all major podcasting, audio, and video platforms, such as Spotify, Apple, YouTube, major social media platforms, and more, where we meet with the most badass people and creators to talk about business, entrepreneurship, and current events. You can watch the show live or later on youtube.com/the St. Louis podcast, just like Katie Baker and Matt Parker are right now. Now let's jump into it. Aaron, how are you doing today?
I'm good. You guys are good at this.
It's number 7.
It may be the greatest talker I've ever seen live. I was getting captivated.
I wish I had the deep voice to go with the lines.
I'm recovering from St. Patrick's Day. Trust me, it isn't normally this deep. But it was cold in
sounds
Dogtown. But yes, I'm good.
I'm going to have to fake an accent just so I could do better on the show, get more listeners.
It wouldn't hurt.
I definitely... You don't have to tell me about that.
You used to do the British accent back in the day.
I did. We'd go to Mizzou to party, and I would do British accent the whole evening.
He'd be a British soccer player.
No, Czech Republic soccer player.
Czech. That's right.
I can see that.
That's right.
Yeah.
What was the name?
Aiden Pierce.
Aiden Pierce. That's right.
Yep, that was my name, and he was my brother, Alexander Pierce.
Yeah, that's right.
And the fact that anyone...
We're Czech soccer players, too.
Yeah, and with that, luckily you didn't have the beard.
I had no beard back then. I had no hair. I had no facial hair in college. I looked like a baby. Yeah.
Isn't that funny when you look back and you look like a baby?
I can't look back, I actually blocked them so I don't have to see those pictures anymore. But anyways, you're the creator of Arch Apparel. You serve as the head honcho over there right now, correct?
Yes.
Cool.
That's what they tell me.
So that said, before the podcast, you're like, man, it'd be really terrible if someone were to ask me how it all started, but I'm going to ask you anyways. How did you start the business?
Sure. I'll give you the standard answer that you're used to hearing, but it's still true, and I find myself talking about it often whenever we go back to the original why we're doing what we're doing sometimes, and even just we'll be in meetings and people will bring it up. But honestly, it came about having the wearability to support your hometown and where you're from without it being on a cartoon bird or a blue note. No offense to the team logos, they're outstanding, but there was a missing like fashion element to like, hey, I want to go to a Cardinal game, and this is when I was a little younger, and then go out afterwards, but I don't want to be in a bright red t-shirt with a cardinal bird on it. Like that's just not, and it's not going with my outfit. So I was just looking for something simpler, to be honest with you, and did a little bit of shopping around, couldn't find what I was looking for, so then just got to work and started doing it ourselves. And the first design we came out with is still our strongest selling design and pretty much number one in every category, and it's a circle with STL in it.
But both of you have it on.
Audience.
Yeah, shout out. And I just think that people often, it's just so simple. You can wear it with everything. You could probably mix that outfit 100 different ways, and we concentrate on that wearability a lot. So that's really where Arch came from, was like my own personal need. And then as it grew, people, the brand has grown now. We do so many things that are outside of just what I like and things like that. So, yeah.
How many different designs do you guys have nowadays?
Oh, there's hundreds and hundreds. Yeah, at any one time, we probably have 70 to 80 active, but the archives, there's so many.
Well, that tells us how. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you obviously have the STL. Have you tried it in other cities?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes and no. Like over the journey, there's just been opportunities that have popped up where
Sure.
we have been able to like, kind of spread our wings a little bit, test the markets a little bit. And I think we would do really well. I want to conquer St. Louis first.
Got it.
In my mind, and what I feel like I'm there where I need to be to take it and grow it. And we've still got a little bit of ways to go. So
You said conquer St. Louis. What is the definition of that to you?
Great question.
I'll know it when I'm there, and I feel like you can understand that. It's hard to put like a point and be like, that's it, check that box, done. We're still fine tuning our stores. We're still fine tuning our inventories and what that looks like for our customers and the flow of customers in St. Louis. Just adding the 2 sports here recently has just changed our whole business and outlook. I mean, it's been insane. So now we got to like restructure a little bit for what the new norm is. So I think we're trying to find our new norm. I would love to like maybe open one more store and feel like we've got all the area of St. Louis covered, and then try and go from there. We've got some amazing relationships that are waiting for us to like want to take that chance a little bit too.
Sure. Well, Arch Apparel has gained a significant following on social media. On Instagram, I think it was 50,000 plus followers, which is really good for a city like St. Louis. Could you discuss the strategies you used to build and engage with your audience on social media, or was it a team member of yours, collective effort? How did it happen?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a pivotal thing for us. Now, go back 7 years ago, Instagram was like, it was trending, but people were still taking brunch photos using the stock filters, that kind of thing. So, and I like fashion. I keep up with it and I follow brands a lot. So rewind 7 years ago, what was missing in St. Louis that I felt like was like brands shooting like lifestyle photo shoots and then sharing it on social media. It was just very much people taking their own little selfies and stuff. So we did a photo shoot, and that really that elevated our brand above everybody, because we had a model, we had a professional photographer, lifestyle pic, and all of a sudden our content was like never seen before in St. Louis.
Sure.
Other brands on the coast and stuff were doing it, but from a retail like clothing brand, it wasn't happening. So that was really, I guess you can zoom out and think, looking for like what was missing, but working in other markets, I guess. And that's what we did. And that really started the momentum and the flow. And then very quickly it became people following the journey. And I was very front facing and very much, I'm picking up the boxes at this store and driving them here. I'm dropping this off, all that kind of stuff. And people were supporting and following the journey. And then the Blues won the Stanley Cup. So that put us on we did the Play Gloria shirt. That put us on another level.
Everyone had that shirt.
Yeah. It's still a good one. People ask for it all the time. Do you have the finally one with the cup as the eye in finally once they won this?
No, I don't. I have the one where they first got into the playoffs.
Got you. Yes. Yeah. I asked about the finally one. That ended up being kind of banned from the NHL, and
So that leads to a question I was going to have: licensing.
Yeah.
So how does that work with sports? How do you get around it, or you just straight up don't use anything associated with the sports teams themselves?
We've lived and learned, right now we don't mess with that. Like we don't need to, you know what I mean? Well, I don't think we need to. There's an audience for people that want to wear exactly what you're wearing, a red hoodie with STL, because you can wear that to the airport, you can wear it anywhere. And it doesn't scream, I'm Cardinals Blues fan. So we've gotten away from that a little bit. And you could, I clearly identify that as a Cardinal piece, if you like. It's red and it's white, it says STL. But it's just a red hoodie with white STL. So we don't need to mess with licensing. We've tried it. This is not a lot of meat on the bone at the end of the day.
Yeah, makes sense. And
it doesn't necessarily work out for the small man all the time.
Sure.
So
Fanatics took that whole thing over, and let me tell you, everything's gone downhill. I think since they became the proprietor, really, for all of apparel for all sports. I mean, the sizing is inconsistent. It's terrible. I hate it. Yeah, it's not great.
They're in a box. It's just a catalog, and they're all buying from the same place. It's the same blank, and then you get, the Boston, and then you get New York, and then you get St. Louis. They're just printing different things on the same shirt, so it just saturates out a little bit, for sure.
Yeah, one of the reasons I actually liked the Arch Apparel brand when I went over there last week, Thursday, I believe, was because there wasn't a bunch of sports all over it. I personally don't give a shit about sports at all whatsoever. I play indoor soccer on and off, but I don't follow any sports teams. Like if the Stanley Cup is won, that was cool, I guess. Hooray. Same with World Series. But this style was simplistic. And that's one of the things that pulled me to it. That said, how big is your team now?
Anywhere between upper 30s.
Okay.
Yep.
And leading 30 people, what are some of the biggest challenges you faced as CEO, and how did you overcome them?
Oh man, you got good questions. Whenever you start something yourself, you're limited in what you know. So I quickly am somebody, if that's not my forte or I'm not good at that, I'm somebody who I do feel like identifies that pretty quickly, and I need to find someone else that can do that. That's just not my thing.
Same.
So that helps. It helps put responsibility on other people, and they feel like they're a part of the journey of what we're doing, because they're doing things that I probably should be doing, but like I can't do that. I just can't do that. My brain will not let me do that right now. I need to be doing this over here, you know? And so that's something I learned, is that you do have to delegate. And I know that's so generic and broad, but like when you're starting it yourself, you're doing everything, but the idea is to always grow, grow, grow. So then once you start growing, you got to start handing things off. And there's things that I don't do now that I used to do. I don't go to the pop-ups now and set up the pop-ups and stand behind the pop-ups. And that's not because I'm above doing the pop-ups or anything like that. Our business has just grown when my focus is somewhere else. And sometimes there's just pop-ups happening I don't even know. So that is a like testament, I think, like that's a good spot. We're in a good spot when that's happening. So I've learned that, I would say that over the years, is just being able to let things go. And now I really focus on driving the business and like where we want to go, and leading that charge a little bit. And it's, I'm loving it. It's a newish kind of role because the team's really grown, and we have really good team members right now that they love working at Arch. You know, you can tell, and they're a part of it. And we've got big dreams. So, and I want them to be right next to us when we're collaborating with Nike one day, and we're at this huge brand, and they were here from day one. So,
sure.
Yep.
And one of the things you were talking about is how delegating is super important. And everyone that leads a medium to large size team says that, but lots of the smaller business owners that are watching, like one of the important things I also learned was when you start out, like you said, you're doing everything. And the only way to scale is to slowly replace pieces of yourself or pieces of your responsibilities per se with someone who's better at it as quickly as possible. And the faster you do that is really the faster you scale.
Yep.
Another thing you said that I can relate to a lot is you said there's pop-ups going on that you didn't even know were happening. And isn't that the best feeling whenever that you like aren't even aware of a client you have anymore? Like someone tells you, oh, I'm having a problem with this client, and you didn't even know you're working with them, for example. We have that kind of stuff. That's like one of the best feelings of growth. Also kind of disorienting when it first starts occurring, because I mean, at the beginning, just like you did, I'm sure I was aware of everyone we're working with. And then just over time, like I'm probably missing about 20 to 30% of who we're working with, like by memory now, which is a good feeling.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And I get self-conscious that people will think that is me. Oh, we got too big or whatever. And it's like, no, I'm just stretched so thin, you know, like we all wanted the brand to grow, and we're growing, and this is what it kind of looks like as it grows, you know. The person that used to pay the bill to be at the pop-up now might not even know the pop-up's happening because she has someone that reports to her that gets the pop-up done. So like that's where we all wanted to be, but it does have its downfalls a little bit because you do disengage a little bit with the customer who you used to know so much, but you can't be everywhere. You can't pour from that empty cup, kind of, you know, thinking. So yeah, that was a challenge to overcome that, and having to almost let people down a little bit. Like you feel like you're letting people down because you're less.
Really, you're not. It's just you feel like you're letting them down.
Yeah.
That's something you just have to get over.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Because it's all in your own brain, right?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that's like the TikTok, you know, going around where, you know, women walk up and they're like, how your husband fixes, and it's like, just try not thinking about it. Yeah. And it's like, fixed, yeah.
So you said your team is like instrumental and they all love working at Arch. So, you know, that's something I think that we're proud of as well at Vi. And as, you know, business owners, I think it's sometimes hard to see why that's the case. You're just like, I struck it lucky. You know, I don't know how we have the team we do, but we're just lucky to have them. You know, how do you think you helped kind of build and facilitate people actually like working? Because especially, you know, given retail and things like that, compared to a normal retail store, I would say people probably don't like working there in comparison to Arch, for example. So how did you kind of grow that team and were able to facilitate having those people actually like working there?
Yeah. You know, maybe the vibe and, you know, generic word, but like is an expression and part of like, you know, my personality in a way. I don't usually try to get too emotionally moved about things and like pretty relaxed about things. Customers are always first, and I'm not trying to be generic in that sense, but like we're selling t-shirts and hats and things like that. Like we should never be arguing or, you know, like you need another t-shirt, we'll get you another t-shirt.
Yeah.
You know, not a big deal. So I think that the vibe, the energy throughout the place is really important to me. And I think that Arch is really cool too. I think we do cool stuff. And like part of the things that I was really proud of was in the beginning was being able to have a business where local photographers could like highlight their work. And we have a stylist, like it's St. Louis, like there's not that many stylists. Like we have that, we have visual merchandiser. And like, again, if you wanted to be a visual merchandiser, but you were born in South County, where do you go? Do you have to leave? Well, you know, it feels cool that we can offer that because I like those kind of jobs. That's the stuff I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And we were touching with creatives and fashion people and stuff like that. So that has I think, once you mix all those people in the same room, you kind of, there's a similar energy running through people like that. And that may be the same with your team. There's something you could probably pinpoint that they all have, you know, that other people who have come and gone just didn't have. You know,
and it sounds like you have a mission that people are, you know, wanting to be a part of. And I think at Vi, you know, what differentiates ourselves a lot from, you know, say other marketing companies is, you know, we don't just want to be a marketing company, right? That's not the end goal. We don't want to just have, you know, 10 employees, service a couple clients and call it a day. We're trying to grow it. We have, you know, a holding company and things like that. And I think people are attracted to, especially if you have, you know, you're a good leader, people are attracted to those, you know, types of businesses where they see something moving forward versus going to, you know, Google and being like, you know, what am I actually working for here?
People are attracted to the vision.
Yeah.
Like even though most, if not all employees are usually never as invested as a business owner, which is a huge thing to overcome as a business owner, is realizing that.
We ask that all the time. Like, why did they bring that up?
Yeah. Most businesses are okay with complacency and stagnation. And people like to be about a part of something where the vision is constantly evolving and growing. Being a part of something bigger than yourself attracts people. But
I will often say, and sometimes I get like, I'm a weirdo. I will often tell people the dream of like, hey, we want to, I want like that day, I have this like vision almost of one day, you know, Nike does a lot of great work in the East and West Coast, but they don't do a lot in the middle of America. And then one day they'll come to St. Louis because it's a cool city and we've got roots with Air Force One, you know, so there's some Nike kind of roots running through here. And they're like, okay, we want to collaborate with someone and put together something. And I hope that we're at the top of that list when that day comes. So, and I believe that day is going to come. So that's what I'm hanging out for. And once we get to that point, that will feel like such an accomplishment, I feel like. And I think when I talk about that to the team often, I hope they take that in the right way of just like, that's what I think about, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to gas them up or anything like that. Like that's where I'm trying to head. And I do believe that the ones that have been with me for a while, I like would love to see that come true for Arch, you know, as well. Yeah. So you're accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, having a vision and believing in said vision is 50% of the battle, and being able to visualize that. I mean,
you said being authentic, not bullshitting.
Yeah, right. I mean, look, there's no rules. Like, let's be like that's a topic.
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
There is rules, I guess, but there isn't rules at the same time. Like, if one of my employees that I work with every day, she's like, I'm having a bad mental day. Like, cool, just go home, relax, chill. Talk to you tomorrow. Like, we'll get it done. You know, everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Whereas that I've worked in previous, you know, more corporate structures and like, it's not as easy as that, you know, and then you got to clock you to hours and this person needs an email and this and this. So there's advantages to small businesses and, you know, we break the rule. There's all kinds of stuff happening that probably shouldn't be happening at the offices, but.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, him just being there is something.
We get a little rowdy sometimes. I mean, what are you going to do?
But that's probably why they love working for you guys too, you know, like as in, you got jobs to do, but then also I'm a real person. I'm like, this doesn't always have to be so serious.
Oh, we're super laid back.
Yeah.
Clocking in and out at a boring job where everyone just goes to their cubicle,
Yep.
goes to lunch,
Yep.
goes to the water cooler, goes back to their desk, goes home,
takes
oh
off
my
their
God.
suit.
Just saying that out loud makes me,
Yes.
yeah, like,
Yeah, I have like a vivid memory,
Yeah.
and I have shared this before with people close to me about where I one of my jobs previous to this, and I'll keep everyone's name out of it, but was like calling on students to like enroll into college, like college admissions type stuff. And now, anyway, our main responsibility every day was to make 100 calls every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I made 100 calls. Thursday, I get pulled into the office, and my boss at the time, she was like, "Do you know how many calls that you made?" I was like, "I don't know," like and she was like 92, and I was like, "Okay." But the day prior, 115, 108, 112, So I got like a slap on the wrist for making 92. And that whole thinking was just so small to me that I just couldn't. And I tried to, but I had really meaningful calls and not just hang up calls,
Sure, yeah.
But that was my like moment. I was just like, "Look, I got to get out of it." Like I that was honestly like what really planted in me is like, I got to do something for myself. Yeah.
Sure. No.
I feel like Garrett and I both started in those same roles. I mean, I came from credit repair, same thing, 100, 150 calls a day.
Oh, I've been doing sales for 13 years.
You cold
Door
called for a
knocking,
long time, yeah.
cold
Yeah.
calling.
Yeah. It was the thinking and the philosophy and the energy, the vibe of the place that would even be something we're talking about.
Yeah.
That was the problem
Sure.
for me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I was
It
just
should
like,
be end results. It's like,
Yeah.
as a salesperson especially, it's all about revenue generated, not calls made. Because if you're just comparing calls, what's one person that, say, isn't great, making 100 calls, and one person that is phenomenal at their job also making maybe not 100 calls because they have more meetings, more appointments, and things like that. So it's a metric to look at, but it's not all encompassing, if you will.
People are sneaky too. There's people that just call on their brothers and sisters up and down. Like, come on.
Call my cell phone 10
Yeah,
times.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, no answer. That's so
absolutely.
weird.
Yep.
Let me double tap this one. Yeah,
Yep.
there's 2 calls.
I remember doing shit like that when I did door knocking.
Yeah.
Because all we had was a piece of paper when we did door knocking. I worked for a home improvements company, and how they would keep track of how many doors you knocked. It was literally you just mark it on a piece of paper. I can't tell you how many times that I just put some bullshit on that piece of paper.
Yeah. They must have really trusted you.
Oh, they did. I was a supervisor. God bless their hearts.
Yeah.
But I did good. I mean, I provided results. So, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But that said, so a large majority of entrepreneurs and business owners have 0 to 1 employees, like a vast majority. I think it was definitely over 50, maybe over 70% of business owners. You have 30-something team members. That said, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who are just starting out?
Dude.
And real quick, what do you wish you had known when you first started your own business?
Okay, I got my first do everything. Do everything. There is no bad. If you're doing something, it's forward progress. I believe in that so much. Like, keep moving forward in no matter what. Even if you're making the decisions and they're wrong, make them fast, keep moving. And I believe in that momentum of a business. I find that to be really important. So do everything. I was saying yes to everything. Double booking myself, going here. I'll figure it out later. We'll get someone else to go there and whatever. But like, say yes to every opportunity. Because sometimes it does feel like a war of attrition. Like, maybe you're one day waiting for Dell to call you guys and be like, hey, we need help with marketing. I'm just kind of making somebody up.
Yeah.
You may not be equipped for it right now, but fast forward 10, 15 years, all the places that are here right now, they might be closed. And then as a war of attrition, you guys are the biggest one around, doing the best things. Your client base has grown and you get the call from Dell. Like, that's how I assume a lot of these things work. So I was saying yes to everything. And that's really important, I think, in the beginning. You got to get out of your shell a little bit. And because that wasn't necessarily my core, and being front facing like that and wanting all that exposure of being at pop-ups, talking to customers and stuff like that. But you want to make it happen, you got to make it happen. So be at everything. Advice, if I could, for someone starting it out, was like, for me, and this is my advice, if you feel like you're someone like me, do it yourself. I wish I had always just done it myself.
Example.
Bringing other people into the business in the beginning and realizing that if it's not your dream, it's really hard. Like, if you're an owner and it's not your dream, you're in a hard spot, because it was my dream. I was so passionate about it. So I wish I had the opportunity to like rewrite that and just kind of do it myself and take it on myself and like the whole initial thought. And that kind of bled into, in the early days, you use a lot of family, you use a lot of friends and things like that. I love that, of course, but it does usually end in tears. You know, it goes bad, not bad, but it's uncomfy, it's tricky. I've had friends work for me that started by helping me do the pop-up, and then fast forward 6 months, they're in charge of retail. I've had friends do this, and then they're now, and it's like, oh, I don't want you to call me if you're off sick, but I get that you need somebody to call. You're my friend. I don't want to call, you know, like, so it just creates complications. So in the beginning, you've got to utilize your friends and family for sure, but I would anticipate it could be tricky in navigating that.
It's very hard.
So you said say yes to everything. I was actually just watching a podcast I watch every week, the All In podcast. It's pretty good for any business owner or anything like that. They talk about markets and things like that, but they were talking about essentially a graph that you would have. At the beginning, when you first start your business, you say yes to everything. As that business starts to grow, the amount of things that you say yes to, essentially when you're super successful, should almost be no to absolutely everything, right? So it's kind of funny how you have to juggle that until you get to that point where you're only, like you're kind of doing, you're just focusing on driving the ship, right? Mm-hmm. And pointing that thing forward and getting us to the next spot instead of having to worry about everything else.
I find that graph to be absolutely true. Mm-hmm. I mean, I said yes to everything.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. I mean, here's one situation.
Yes to bad clients that we knew were going to, oh
my God.
Yes. Yes, give us your money. We will do a good job. And then it's like, I knew we shouldn't have done this. Yeah.
You know, in fact, I might have.
Yeah. Free.
Adds another client on the books. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Doing stuff for free. I mean, literally anything under the book that we can do. Yep. I mean,
so you think about like, obviously we're in like a, you know, a merchandisey type thing. So the amount of times I've been hit up for like, and this is, I don't want to discourage people, for like a golf tournament. Mm-hmm. Can we get 100 koozies? A koozie, no matter where you buy them, it's like $3 a piece, right?
Sure.
So it's basically like going to the small business. Can I have $300? And it's like, I would rather just give you $100 cash and then like just, we don't have to talk about it, you know, because that $300 is so important that you can't say no, because that person probably knows you. In the early days, that person probably knows you, has a direct line to you affiliation. Now we have allocated budgets that we can say each month we've got our budget, and you know, it's properly assorted, you know, accountants that are involved now and do stuff.
Sure.
So, but in the beginning, you're just like, yes, but you're not accounting for any of it. But you're trying to buy goodwill in a way, yet it's costing you all your money. You know what I mean? So it is tricky, yeah.
So one other question here. What's the funniest or most embarrassing moment, and depending on if you have one, what's the most fucked up moment you've had as CEO of Arch Apparel?
I've had a lot of fucked up moments. But
Same.
I take the high road. What do you do?
90% of the time I take the high road. The other 10% of the time it depends. If it's Eric, that's the 10% of the time. Everyone else, that's 90% of the time.
Yeah. What was the first part of your question again?
What's the funniest, most embarrassing, or most fucked up moment you've had as CEO of Arch Apparel?
I guess I'll just combine some moments that have happened. A funny moment. Let me think about that in the back of my head. A really cool moment that like now wouldn't move the radar quite as much, but I remember it and I have a vivid core memory of it, is delivering our box of goods to the Blues store. And that was all cool as well. But we were sitting in the car and we got a phone call from the lawyer for Stan Musial Inc. And they wanted to give us the rights to Stan Musial Inc. This is before we even had a store to create stuff, because their family had shopped with the brand and liked the brand and whatnot. And like that moment was like, holy shit, you know, like now Stan Musial Inc. is one of many of our collab partners that we work with. And wouldn't be one of the larger ones either, you know? So I just remember that being like, whew, that was a really cool moment that I think about often. We've had the fucked up moments. We've had a lot of those. I mean, the scales are fucked up. Is it that fucked up that Etsy stores, you know, will rip your design and then put it on their page and sell it for half price? Like, yeah, it's fucked up. Is it? But then we've had the other scale of like major corporations doing the exact same things to us, and we're just like, taking the high road. We recently get cease and desist all the time. That I know it just feels wrong, but like
they send them to you.
Yeah. Okay. They send them to us
For what?
use of trademark phrases, typically. Pop socket, for example. I didn't know Pop Socket's actually the name of the company. It's not the
Really? Okay.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Okay.
So we were selling him on the website as Pop Socket. We get cease and desist. We made a shirt that said Lou Challa when Lou Fest was here. Coachella sent us a cease and desist. We've had them from all your favorite local teams. Don't worry, we've had them. And I get it. Now, as we have grown, I respect that they're their marks and you got to protect them because like we have tried to protect ours. But sometimes we get bullied around for sure and you just can't fight it because we don't have the money or the time. So keeping the ball rolling, going back to that, that feels to me like you're stopping and having to like revisit backwards. So a lot of effed up moments where your favorite brands aren't friendly sometimes.
Yeah. No, I experienced that last summer. Another business I own that I don't talk about much because it's just a small thing, but I started a website called GamePassTracker.com, and all it does is keep track of what games are on Xbox Game Pass, which is like Netflix for video games. And I blew up on Twitter, was getting probably like 5 million impressions a month on there, and kept at it for like 60 days. And so I got in like meetings with Xbox and a bunch of my favorite YouTubers in the Xbox industry. Oh, and they were all huge dicks. I mean, every single one. And these are people I watched for like Xbox related news prior to me getting my own attention.
Yeah.
Got attention, got to meet these people. Absolutely terrible. Also doing business with video game nerds.
Yeah.
Don't recommend it
I was
at
about to
all.
say, that's
completely different.
I don't
from
see that in my
this.
future. But I don't see that in my future.
Yeah. What's the best or most unusual business idea you've ever had? Because I've come up with tons of business ideas. In fact, I have an Apple Note. And if I keep it in there for 6 months, I'll then take it to my COO, who will then swat it down 99% of the time. That said, what's your best or most unusual?
Can I tell you my most recent that I just had?
Sure.
And I hope this business doesn't even exist or I'll sound like an idiot. But the DMV is an awful experience. Why has there not been, and if there has, I need to know it, a third party, whatever that it looks like, close your eyes, think about that it basically assists the person through it because they're private outsourced the DMVs, right?
yes.
So
yes, yep.
And I'm talking like, why is it not just digital
You can go
files
open
for
a
people?
DMV. There's a process, but you can open a DMV. Yeah.
And from what I see, you don't need to outfit these DMVs with anything nice.
Absolutely not.
Where do you find the unhappy people? So you can start a DMV.
It's called government employees. What do you mean?
Are they? Well,
Yeah, they are. I mean,
I don't know.
well, technically they would
I
be.
think they are.
Yeah, technically, I think even though it's privately owned, it's still, you know what? I don't
see.
know.
Like a jail, like a prison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
a private jail. Yeah, exactly.
okay.
Yeah.
It was just the service part of it I felt like has been missing. And right now people, if you're telling me it was like $4 a month and they would take care of your license and your plates, $4, so $48 a year
100%.
times by all these clients I get. And they're just keeping digital records of stuff like
You
that.
could have the enterprise package for businesses. Like literally,
Yeah,
we
it's a
had an
nightmare.
issue with licensing a car for our insulation company.
Oh.
And it back in, maybe it was our partners that, didn't have any sort of common sense to be able to figure this out by going back and forth 6 to 8 times or 10 times or
Yeah, it
whatever,
was bad.
whatever it was. But it's like, it's just like, where's the company for that to facilitate that? Because those people don't care. They're like, hey, you forgot this form. It's like, I was just here and you told me to bring this form. Now I have this form. Now you're telling me I need something else. It's like, do you hate me? I don't know you.
Often, and I wonder if you're the same, if you're thinking of ideas and stuff like this, I often, when I hear people and we're just talking and they're explaining a problem to me, I'm always like, why is there not a solution for that? And you just, like, everyone has to go to the DMV 2 or 3 times, right? For $4, $5 a month, people would pay for that.
Yes.
Yep.
I would.
Everyone in this room would pay
I
for
would.
that. Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. And you make it such a minuscule amount that people aren't like actually really noticing the $4.
Yeah.
But they will notice the time that they get back. The person I was just talking to went 3 times in 3 separate days, 3 half days. And it's like, that's crazy. That's hundreds of dollars of time.
100%.
So
And
that's fine.
you have to drive down to Clayton, right?
I guess it's wherever your local is.
But it's sometimes for like tax stuff, you got to drive all the way down to Clayton. You live out in Eureka. It's a 40-minute drive one way. You got to do it multiple times. It's like
yes,
the system. I mean, it's just like the healthcare system, like with trying to get healthcare through the marketplace. It's not. It's not the easiest thing on this planet.
Are you
And
going to steal his idea?
it can definitely be way better.
You're like in love.
I'm just saying. That pisses me off. I hate the DMV, dude.
Yeah, everyone does.
I hate the
Yeah.
DMV.
We could all unify about that. Every single person's a customer.
Yeah, that's true.
Telling you.
All right.
Do you hate the DMV? Yes.
Yeah.
All right, pay us.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be yes, 99% of the time. All right. So you live in St. Louis. We're known as a very dangerous, fucked up city to most of the country, if not the world. That said, what's the craziest or most unexpected thing that's happened to you since you moved to St. Louis? Like example, I was held at gunpoint for a gram of weed. He tried giving me mulch, and I took the mulch. I had no point.
Yeah.
Or point.
Must have been gold mulch.
Yeah. What was that mulch? Give me that mulch.
Brain fart.
Yeah, you were downtown on Wash Ave, you were saying.
I was on Tucker, but yeah,
Oh, yeah.
right
Well,
there.
I mean,
Damn.
yeah.
It was my first day. I moved downtown for like 3 years, and I was like, damn, I don't smoke weed anymore, but I was smoking weed every day at that point. I was like, damn, I have to drive all the way to Eureka for weed. So I just asked some random guy. He's like, oh, yeah, I got you. He's like, stay here. Came back 5 minutes later. He was like, no need to look at it. We could get caught, whatever. And I was like, no, fuck that. I'm going to look at it. And then I opened the bag because it was not a see-through bag. It was like in a cigarello Ziploc, tall Ziploc. And it was mulch when I looked in it. I look up, he's got a gun. He's like, just take it. I'm like, okay,
Yep, fair
sounds
enough.
good.
Yep.
And I tried again a couple days later. That also didn't go good, but he didn't use a gun, so that's good.
Yeah. That's good.
But I also got scammed that time too.
I mean, we lived downtown and saw some absolutely wild stuff. Someone got stabbed and
in our building.
dragged across our building. There's blood on the whole, like the main floor of our building.
The DEA.
Shooting right, 5 feet from our back window.
Oh yeah, the DEA
That was some
came.
wild stuff.
The DEA came in our building and
We didn't care back
they
then,
went
though.
upstairs. A half hour later, they came downstairs with a safe like this tall
Yeah.
and this wide.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um,
But anyways,
It's a
what
good
about
day
you?
for the DEA.
yeah. No, you guys have violent stories. That's what they sound
yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Like that's St.
Well,
Louis.
we were 23, 20, probably 20, 23, 24 living
22
downtown. And
to
we
25,
didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember caring.
No.
Like we were not like, scared. We had no fear. We were like, our family members were like, "You scared?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's fine, dude.
Yeah.
It's, this
Now
is
I
I
understand.
was like, this isn't random violence.
Everyone's safe.
Yeah, this isn't. They're not violating me, right? Or just random
Sure.
people. They know each other.
Yes.
That's how you say it in your mind. It's like they know each other. They don't know me. We're good.
Yep.
All it takes is one stray bullet, though.
I feel like I was sitting here while you guys were talking, trying to buy me some time to think of an answer. I was like, I've got like this. There's just so many different areas.
I
of
can
St.
tell more
Louis.
stories while you think of an answer if you
You're
need.
good. There's so many different areas of St. Louis that, like, as I started going through them in my mind, I've had some funny stories through each of them. But one of them that kind of sticks out to me is I used to go to high schools and talk to them about professionalism, like their senior classes, about graduating and like the next steps you need to take and stuff like that. And one of the schools I used to go to was East St. Louis High School. So I would go over there. Now, when I would, my district was SLPS. So I would go into the SLPS schools. And if you're not from St. Louis, I probably look like I'm from West County, and, you know, I roll into these schools, and these are inner city schools. And I'm rolling in with, you know, technology to talk to them about professionalism, stuff like that. And then I open my mouth and I sound Australian. So it'd often be met with a little bit of like side eye, and then I start talking, and then it was like 1,000 questions, you know, about like where I'm from and stuff like that. Brought me a lot of good credibility. So
I do the same thing. I'm a partner in education with the Rockwood School District, so I go to schools in the Rockwood School District and talk to students.
cool. Yeah, love that. It's very rewarding, and you also realize that girls are way smarter than guys. Way smarter. The boys,
The guys aren't even awake.
it's
They're
something.
just sitting there.
I don't know if it was like that when I was in high school, but my God, those girls are like 2 or 3 years ahead. It's unreal.
I mean, that's actually science. Like they mature mentally faster than guys do. That's why. I mean, they really are like 2-3 years ahead.
Even when you're talking to them, it's like, it's
100%. Yeah.
it's weird.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so
I had 2 cousins the same age. Well, I had 2 cousins, have 2 cousins the same age,
Yeah.
male and female. And when they were growing up, yeah, you talk to the female cousin, and you'd just be having more intelligent conversation.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this is a sample size of 2, maybe not the best, but it's like, going off for what, and then you talk to the boy, and he's just wild boy.
Yeah. They're
like,
into just dumb stuff.
Yeah, you're talking to a kid versus an adult. It's hilarious.
Yes.
It's so interesting.
It is.
We're going to get canceled for talking positively about a different sex.
No. No, we did a chant last podcast. What do you mean? We did a woman-powered chant.
Last time we basically vowed our
Roll
lives
the clip.
against men.
We did. That was so
that
funny.
was good.
So I was at East St. Louis High School, and it's just a funny story because I went to leave, and that area is obviously notoriously can be really dangerous.
Yeah.
And it was the middle of the day. I used to have 30 iPads with me that would talk to these kids and they would use. So I'm rolling out with 30 iPads. I had a piece of shit car at the time, and I said to the security guy, I had low gas, and I said to the security guard out front, I was like, yo, I need to get some gas. Where's the nearest gas station? And this is some years ago. This is before the GPS was such a good thing, and he was like, just started laughing. And I was like, what's up? He's like, you ain't getting gas around here. And I was like, I was like, you do not want to get gas around here. He's like, you need to go that way, and then you need to go that way. Because I had to wear a shirt and stuff. I was talking about professionalism.
Yeah.
And it just kind of hit me 100 miles an hour. And I said to him, I was like, dude, I have to get gas. I can't even get back onto the other side of the bridge. So he's like, you want to roll up to this gas station? He's like, don't even switch your engine off. He's like, keep your car rolling. He's like, don't look at anyone. Don't talk to anyone. Roll up to the gas station. And it's exactly as you can imagine a gas station in East St. Louis in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon would be like. And I put $2.50 in and was just out of there. But I only go back to the east side for certain things, and it ain't to talk to
Strip clubs. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, but not in a really long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yesterday,
we do you remember the time we were still living downtown and we took the wrong turn one night and we got on the bridge. We ended up in East St. Louis and we had no idea where we were at.
That was not fun.
This was also back in the time where I don't know why we couldn't find the way back. There was roads closed. Google Maps was just out.
Yeah.
So
we found the exit and it was closed.
Yeah. So we were trying to get back and we saw the cop. And the cop had someone pulled over. We pull up next to the cop, and this cop was probably like, "What the hell is about to happen?"
Yeah, you were like,
and we were like, "How do we get out of here?" This guy was like, "What the hell are you guys even doing?" He's like, "Get the hell out of here!" We were like, "We don't know how." He's like, "This way, that way, and that way, and this," and we're like, "Oh."
Yeah.
And then we got out of there, but the guy was straight up like, "You guys are wild."
I was scared shitless.
Yeah.
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 Google Maps kept trying to take us. No matter what we do, it tried to take us to this entrance to the highway that was closed.
We were about to
terrible.
just go up a destruction zone, figure it out.
Can you imagine growing up in those neighborhoods? That's the part that I think about that sometimes.
Yeah,
cool.
no kidding. I didn't even think about that.
That's
a
home
different
for
perspective.
Some people. Mm-hmm.
All right. If you could only wear one piece of clothing from Arch Apparel for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
Probably this hoodie I'm wearing, to be honest with you. Yeah.
That's probably what I do. I wanted that hoodie, but with the embroidery. They just didn't have it at the time.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's been busy lately for sure. But I definitely, this thing right here, the City Circle, I have it tattooed on my arm here as well. I just think that for me, it's meant a lot to me. And I have a funny, quick little anecdote. I have a memory of someone posted 7 years ago, maybe I'd done 3 or 4 posts on Instagram, and someone made the comment, you can't just put STL in a circle and think people will buy it. And I was like, no, yes, you can. That's what people will probably want, So that has been our tried and true. I love it. It's really wearable, and I feel like it does have the ability also to expand. There's no reason why NYC can't be in it one day.
Yep.
And my nervousness comes from growth, is that I don't want St. Louis to ever feel like this isn't home base, But my view is the larger I can make Arch Apparel, the more people I can hire. This will always be home. I have 2 kids here, and our stores are here and stuff like that. But I want to grow this brand so that it started in St. Louis. Build-A-Bear is,
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, who figured that out in a really good way was Panera. Mm-hmm. They call it St. Louis bread here. That way everyone remembers this is home base and St. Louis doesn't feel left out. And then everywhere else it's Panera.
Yep.
And that was I didn't even realize why they did that until you just said that.
Yeah, you don't want to, that's bread and butter for a while, that's our core. And I actually don't think the name Arch Apparel wouldn't be able to use in other cities. I don't think anyone in Connecticut knows what Arch Apparel would
I don't think they wouldn't connect it to the St. Louis Arch. No, not at all.
St. Louis is small enough to where you could say, show me Arch, pretty much anything St. Louis related, no one's going to know.
No, yeah. And so that's the plan. And I hope people always understand that as we try to grow and take on, there'll be bigger licensing opportunities and stuff like that pop up. And like the Nally one worked out because he's local, it made sense. But
That's in the stores right now, right?
yeah.
Okay, I saw that there.
Yeah, we've had the Nally collab for a while. It's cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're going to do a refresh on it this spring and give it some more life. So yeah, it's been a good
Did
one.
you get to meet him?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Interesting. Yeah, not yet. On the cards.
Yeah, I saw he lives, well, he used to have a house in Wildwood, Missouri, right next to Eureka, Missouri. I grew up in Eureka, and every now and then you'd see him at the local Walmart in a Lamborghini. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, that
Growing
would
up.
be cool.
Or he always had that Escalade with the Wi-Fi thing back when like no one had Wi-Fi. No, like you had like 3G and like no one had good internet. He had Wi-Fi in his Escalade. I remember that. You'd always see him at drive-thru.
Did it have spinners? Do you remember spinners?
No, it was
Didn't
definitely
have
blacked
spinners.
out though. All black.
Yeah.
All
Did you
black.
like spinners when they were a thing?
No.
Oh, geez. For Fast and Furious, come on. Give me a break. Of
That
course.
was such a time.
Of course. Too Fast, Too Furious. You're like
Tokyo Drift and the original. That's
and then
what I'm
also
about.
Need for Speed Underground, Need for Speed Underground 2, always through the rimmers, the rims on there. It's like, yeah, I mean, why would you not? Rimmers? Why? Yeah, why would you not? I mean, the spinning rims, the subs in the back. Dude,
Oh, it was an
it's
era.
the classic early 2000s tuner car.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I remember being 2006 when I first got to America. I went to spring break, I guess 2006, and we went to Miami. And I remember being on like the main strip there, whatever it's called, South Beach.
Yeah.
And the cars, you can imagine, and this is like 2006. But yeah, spinners, the neon lights underneath were a
100%.
thing.
I had neon lights.
Oh yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Hooked in my
Hell
car
yeah,
battery.
let's go. Yeah, so did I.
And,
Burn our car down. Let's
yeah,
go.
I went through batteries once a year, I swear. But yeah, that was a good time. Good time.
Okay. Eric, you got anything else?
I mean, we didn't even make it to any of the news stories.
Well, I guess we can talk about this. Have you heard of ChatGPT?
No.
Okay.
We still got like 15 minutes, right? 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
Oh, yeah, I guess we do. Yeah. Go through. Which one of these do you want to tackle?
Oh, so let's hit on ChatGPT real quick because I know you're wanting to. I know you're wanting to talk about it.
All right.
So actually, if you will, explain what ChatGPT is to Aaron here.
Going to put that on me?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
anyone who
That's
doesn't
nice.
know.
Yeah, or just anyone that. Sorry.
Yeah, so
Not just-
ChatGPT.
anyone that doesn't know.
So Google, Microsoft, and all these big tech companies have been working on AI behind the scenes and haven't really released. There's really no public, or there was really no public advanced AI available to us, just regular laymen, until recently. And then a company called an organization called OpenAI, that's 49% owned by Microsoft, just released something called ChatGPT 3.0 to the public. This was just about a month.
They released 4.
No, they released 3 and it just
okay,
upgraded
yeah,
to 4.
yeah.
So they released 3, upgraded it to 3.5, and then 4.0 is in beta right now. And basically what it is it's an artificial intelligence that the public has access to for free that is super advanced. I mean, quite literally, you can have it do pretty much, you can say, for example, today before this podcast, I literally asked, and some of the questions I used, I told it who Aaron Park was, who Garrett Atkins and Eric Brown were, told them what the St. Louis podcast was, and said, give me a bunch of questions that would provide valuable commentary to the audience. And it said, Aaron Park, CEO of Arch Apparel, whatever, Eric Brown, Garrett Atkins should go over the following topics and then shit out a bunch of questions.
Wow.
And so like 13 of the questions that I have down, and I have a lot more questions here than we actually got through, were actually generated by this artificial intelligence, for example. I write for Forbes on the side as part of something called the Forbes Agency Council. And to spit out a rough draft, I literally told ChatGPT what topic I wanted to write about, and within 10 seconds it had a 1,000 some odd word article written. I asked it to code a 5-page website for a roofing company. Didn't do as good of a job as our team does, but it shit out the code for a 5-page website. I asked it to code a playable...
Yeah, I was going to say, some of the things it's done?
Yeah.
Act as eyes for visually impaired people. So you can be like going into a store, for example, and ask it, hey, what aisle is this in? And it'll be able to tell you, go, walk forward 5 steps and then take a right. Jeez. And it'll tell you, take another steps, and it's going to be right here on your right. So so just to add a little bit of clarity, that's something that Google, as far as we're aware from an SEO perspective, hasn't been able to do, because when we upload images onto a website, we have to title that stuff properly because Google can't read what an image is. And I think obviously this is going to change that a lot, which is going to be nice for us and hopefully cutting down on time.
Yeah, so, but for example, something applicable to your business, and for the audience, just to give an idea, one good way to use ChatGPT for your business is, let's say you're uploading 100 new items on your e-commerce store. You would just say, I am uploading a red STL hoodie with a circle around the STL. Please give me a item description or a hoodie description that's less than 500 words long. And it does it super fast and writes it. And I literally write quite often. It does a better job than me most times. And so it just craps. It makes things that used to take forever and cost a lot of overhead to do because it was all done by humans. It can do it like that.
Yeah. This co-founder quoted $6,000 for a product build from a developer. He spent 3 hours in ChatGPT. It cost him 11 cents.
Yeah, I did 6 chapters in a biography I'm writing about myself just to practice with ChatGPT. Doing 10 chapters, it's done 6, and I did that in 3 hours.
Yeah, the new ChatGPT 4 is significantly better than 3.5. And right now, you only have like 25 essentially tokens you can use a day, meaning you can only ask it like 25 things. But it's so intelligent that if you're able to properly use ChatGPT very efficiently, you can essentially build an app in a day with 25 prompts through ChatGPT.
So now there's going to be ChatGPT specialists out there that are going to be.
Oh, 100%. Because right now it's free.
They'll come and go. But yeah, right now I'm sure it's going to be a thing. I was actually reading about that because it's going to be a marketing thing. I'm sure there's going to be people, it's like, hey, I'm a ChatGPT pro or whatever.
They're already out there.
Yeah.
They reached out to me. I did a post on Facebook, had three or four in my inbox on Messenger that reached out, said they're ChatGPT specialist, and it's been out for a month and a half. So how much of a fucking expert can you be?
Yeah.
That said, I was asking for people that know a lot about it because I'm not a coder. So you could speak to it a lot better if you understand code because that's the language it speaks naturally, obviously.
Okay.
Obviously, it shits everything out in your native language. But
How do you access it?
It's literally like a chat.
Okay.
Go to Bing. Literally Bing right now.
Still a thing?
So if you use Bing search and you go to I forget exactly what it is. If anytime you search on Bing, let me see.
Here, let me show them this. So literally all you do is type, and for the audience who's listening, we're looking at ChatGPT. All you do is type in right there what you want it to do. Okay. So like just type anything real quick. And audio audience, I will tell you what's happening once I look at it.
Yeah, so he's typing that. Just some other insane stuff it's done. So ChatGPT 3.5 got in the 10th percentile on the bar exam. It was over the 90th percentile with ChatGPT 4. The only AP tests apparently it couldn't pass are English language and English lit. It got 5 on bio, 4 on calc, 5 on AP stats. It's absolutely insane.
Put in kind of a similar thing to what you threw out, but the reverse a little bit.
Yeah. So Aaron Parker, our guest today, he went in ChatGPT and asked, what's a good question to ask a podcast host? And it is still
We're up to 10.
Yeah, 10 different questions.
How do you engage with your listening? And this is crazy.
Yeah. But I mean,
everyone's fired.
And you can, I know. So you can keep prompting this and make it better and better. So you can be like, I don't like number 1. You know, let's add in a specific question about like their background or their history, where they grew up, things like that. So
wow, that's a deep topic of like what that does to society.
Every company needs to be looking at this because I mean, I keep up with technology because I'm really into technology and of course digital marketing. So that's a byproduct of it. And this is by far the most impactful thing to release to the public since Facebook did, because obviously social media changed the world forever.
Just something that popped up. Press releases. A lot of people don't know how to write that. Bang.
For sure.
One. Yeah.
So for the listeners out there, ChatGPT 4, there's still programs you want to run that content through that essentially tells. So that way Google doesn't think it's just written by an AI, because Google still doesn't like that. So
I understand.
you still, if you're using it for, say, copy and things like that, it's definitely, you don't just want to upload that.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get to talk about the most important things like Kanye West, Elon Musk, your mom, or Donald Trump. But
Donald Trump getting arrested?
Yeah, Donald Trump getting arrested, maybe, even though it's been a story for forever. That said, we're going to wrap up. Aaron, before we wrap up today's episodes, what social media profiles, business of yours, et cetera, would you like to plug for the audience to go out and follow to learn more about?
Sure. Easiest way to keep up on everything we're doing is probably our Instagram, which is Arch Apparel STL. And our website is just archapparel.com. You hit either of those places, you can find the rest, whatever you're looking for through there.
Cool. Sounds good. Aaron, Eric, that's all the time we have for today. However, the St. Louis podcast will be back next week at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time with a new episode, new guest, and unfortunately more of Eric and his beard. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching live or later and we said something wrong, said something you hate, or said something you want to learn more about,
Garrett.
Do not DM me. You can go to stlouispodcast.com and leave us a message telling us all about it. Finally, this episode was recorded at Half Coast Studios in St. Louis, Missouri. If you're looking to start a podcast or take your current podcast to the next level, whether you're local to St. Louis or walking on the Great Wall of China, reach out to them at halfcoaststudios.com. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today, Aaron, and a pleasure hosting the podcast for the people of St. Louis. We'll see you again next week, Friday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time.